Hey XDA, this is Mashal Rahman, recording an unboxing video for the ASUS ROG Phone II. This is the 10-cent games version that I picked up while I'm in China. We're really interested in this phone, and I know you guys are too, because not only is this the first phone on the market with the Snapdragon 855 Plus, but it's also the first phone with the 120 Hz OLED screen. This is the Swiss Army knife of gaming phones, and I'm really excited to show this off to you. Okay, let's take off the box and show you what's inside. So first things first, inside this we have protective case and the pamphlet and some stickers. So like most phones that you'll get online, you'll get a silicone protective case, plastic, whatever. The ROG Phone II is no different in that regard. It feels pretty nice. It's pretty tough, you know? Anyway, so that's pretty standard. Instead, I want to move on to what's not standard. The phone itself. This thing is an absolute monster. Okay? So, you can see the phone body itself here. It's really tall. And I can tell you, just from holding it for like a few seconds, it's pretty heavy. If you just look at the spec sheet itself, this is one of the heavier phones on the market, and it's no surprise considering what's inside of it. 6,000 milliamp hour battery, Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 Plus. This one has 6 gigs of RAM and 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage. The international model that will be sold sometime within the next few months will have 12 gigs of RAM and 512 GBs of storage. So definitely look forward to that. Before we continue on with the rest of the phone, let me just show you what's inside the box underneath the phone. Right here we have the ROG Phone II power brick. This supplies 18 watts of power. The phone does support Quick Charge 4.0, Qualcomm Quick Charge 4.0, which gives you 27 watts of power, but you need to buy a 27 watt charger for that. If you do buy it from China, you do get the it does support, American plugs, so you can definitely plug this in at home if you import it from China. So that's definitely a plus. And here's the cable. It's a pretty standard, Type A USB-C cable. So the phone itself, it's absolutely beautiful, I gotta say. It's really heavy. Well, I'd get used to it since I'm coming from the Mate 20X, which is an absolutely monstrous phone. But if you're a fan of big phones, you'll definitely enjoy this. And if you're a fan of gaming phones, you'll really love this. And if you're a fan of phones in general, you'll really love this. It's got almost everything that you could ask for. It has dual cameras, a 48 megapixel sensor, an ultra wide 13 megapixel sensor, 6,000 milliamp hour battery. It'll last you forever. Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 Plus, the latest chip, the only phone with this chip on the market right now. USB-C port, second USB-C port, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. On the international model, 12 gigs of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage. Micro SD expandable storage. Yeah, it's got everything, It has dual speakers on the front, a beautiful big 120 Hz OLED panel. Speaking of which, since I got this from a retailer in China, they threw in a tempered glass screen protector. So that's really nice. I did not expect that to come in. I bought this for basically $540 US. That's a bit cheaper than it'll sell internationally. So if you're looking to import it, you might save a few. Although you do get an 8 gigabyte and minimum 128 gigabytes of storage model if you buy the 10-cent version in China. So let me turn it on right now, and let me show you the boot screen. It has this kind of neat sound effect and this animation. And there you go. So right now, since this is the 10-cent games version, once I complete the startup, there won't be the Zen UI 6 option, which is a software skin that you'll see on the ASUS Zenfone 6. But I've got to say, I did play around with this a little bit just to make sure it's a legit device. And ROG UI based on Android Pie is actually pretty nice. It's not overly, I'm a epic gamer. You know, it's not flaunting it in your face or anything like that. So I think you get pretty used to it. So let me set this up quickly. They're just warning us that you do not want to insert a USB-C cable into this slot right here. This is not a charging port. Do not insert anything here. Let me just No, I'm not gonna bother setting up a Wi-Fi because that's a little annoyance right now. It has facial recognition. Oh yeah, fingerprint. In-display fingerprint scanner, because there's no fingerprint scanner on the back, as you'll notice. Let's skip device protection. Air triggers. So air triggers are basically, on the spec list, you'll see like mention of ultrasonic sensors. Those are basically extra buttons you can assign in games. And like when you squeeze the sides, they can trigger a button. So if you're playing like a battle royale game or an FPS game or anything like that, and you need something as like a trigger for the fire button, you can assign it to that. So it really depends on what you want to do with it. Okay, setup complete. Yeah, navigation gestures. Yes, this does have gestures, by the way. They're slightly different than Zen UI 6. Zen UI 6 has you swiping like from the bottom left for back, from the bottom middle for home, from the bottom right for recents. This is more like EMUI or MIUI's gesture, where you swipe from the bottom up for home, swipe up from the bottom and hold for recents, and swipe back from the sides for back. So let's talk about some of the features on the phone, the marquee features that you'll definitely want to check out when you first turn this thing on. So let me show you the performance, the X mode. Let me just turn this on quickly so I can show you what happens on the back. This lights up just like on the first generation ROG phone. Changes colors, you can customize the colors and settings. And while we're on the back, you can also see the cooling chamber. On the first gen ROG phone, this was basically just there for aesthetics. On the second gen, this is actually real. At least that's what I'm told. Hopefully, Zach from Jerry Rigs Everything will actually tear this down and, find out for us. So let me turn back on the front. So let me show you the new Armory Crate app. There's so much to talk about here, which I'll definitely want to go over in full first impressions article and video. But yeah, this phone is made for people who love to tinker and customize their device. Okay, that's not the only thing I want to show you, though. Let me turn that X mode off. This is a phone, right? It's got to do phone stuff, which includes taking selfies. We have a 24 megapixel front-facing camera there. It's pretty impressive for a gaming phone. A lot of gaming phones kind of just they have cameras. They're just there. They don't really do much. But this one might actually be pretty good. We'll definitely want to test that out. The next thing I want to show you, the 120 Hertz Oled screen is absolutely insane. It's the only phone on the market with this kind of panel. Not even Samsung's $1,000 plus Galaxy Note 10 Plus has a greater than 60 Hertz panel, which is a big shame. So let me show you this, the Ufo Test. Look at that. This shows you what frame rate the browser is running at, and this is 122. It's a little inaccurate. It's not running above 120, but you get the picture, right? It's kind of hard. I don't know if you can see it, but if you slow down a bit, you can see that this is much smoother than this and this. And if I had the OnePlus 7 Pro to show off side by side, you could tell there's a difference, a slight difference between 90 to 120, but a massive difference from 60 to 120. There's no getting around it. This is the smoothest phone on the market at 120 Hertz. One more thing I want to show you. Let me go to Smart Assist, the air triggers. This is also unique to the ROG Phone II because it has the pressure-sensitive ultrasonic buttons, is what they call it, that are on the sides right here. So when you're holding the phone in landscape, like you're gaming, like this, right? You can have them perform certain options. Like you can squeeze it, short squeeze to do an action. You can do a long squeeze. You can customize how forceful you have to squeeze it. Yeah, so like you don't need extra buttons here, but if you need them for gaming, if you want to use them, they're definitely a bonus and will give you a leg up over the competition. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to stay tuned to our YouTube channel, our Facebook, our Twitter, and the XDA portal for more ROG Phone 2 content.